Welcome back to the Polishing Podcast. My name is Nicco, otherwise known as Nicco All Powerful. I am the only host of this podcast today because Pixelated Apollo, otherwise known as Trent, has gone out of town. So it's just me, myself, and I. So probably not going to be a really long podcast because there's only so much I can talk about by my lonesome. But I'm going to talk about some video game stuff today because that's what's on my mind. And that's kind of what this podcast is. It's whatever on it's what is ever on our minds. Jesus, that took a second to say. And since I'm the only one here, well, guess what? That means you get a little bit more of this. But yeah, so if you're like me and you're like, oh, cool, what's this podcast about? Like I said, whatever we want to talk about. Last podcast, Moggy was on, also known as Moggs, and they were, we talked about, like while they were on, we talked about, self-care, like bettering yourself, taking care of yourself, all those kinds of things. It was a more serious podcast, not a lot of jokes. If you are interested in that, it's the last episode, you can click it. It's titled Self-Care and all that stuff. So the Polishing Podcast, you can find it wherever you find podcasts, really, which is like Google Play, Stitcher, iTunes, Podbean, fucking Spotify. I think that's it. I'm trying to remember, and I don't think there's another one. But yeah, so video games, because I've been playing a couple different things, and then there's been some news, and then there's been other things, so we're going to talk about that. Recently, there has been a couple releases. Actually just one release, now that I'm thinking about it. Moonlighter is actually kind of old, but there's been one new release that happened since we did the podcast. It was Marvel's Ultimate Alliance 3, The Black Order. It's fun. It's got some weird little hiccups with the co-op camera, which is weird because it's a game that most people are going to play in co-op on their couches. So I don't know how that got past testing. Like, there's some truly awful camera angles sometimes. But Allie and I played through it and beat it, and now we're playing through with a different team, and we're just kind of like beating stuff up. It's been fun. When we were playing Diablo 3, since we did that or before this game on the Switch, we ended up making seasonal characters. We happened to make seasonal characters, and she's gotten through a lot of the seasonal journey. I finished it and got the wings, which the galaxy wings or galactic wings or whatever they're called. They kind of hurt my eyes, so I don't use them that often, but it was fun. And then there's been a talk on the Diablo 3 forum and Reddit and everything about the next season and what they're testing on the PTR, and it looks pretty cool because it's a buff that helps you from level 1 all the way to level 70, and then into your Paragon levels and everything. And they're turning Legacy and Nightmares into a gem instead of, I think the rings are staying, but I don't know. It didn't mention that they were getting rid of the Legacy and Nightmare set rings, but why turn it into a gem and keep the rings? That seems kind of redundant and silly. But yeah, so they're turning that into a gem that you can get, a legendary gem, and you can level it all the way up. And it works for both legendaries and ancient legendaries now. So that's pretty cool. But yeah, did that. Played Diablo 3. Played Marvel's Ultimate Alliance 3. I would, if I had to give it a rating, probably a 7.5. It's better. It's fun when you're playing it co-op. There's just there's segments that are really hard for no reason. Even when you're using characters of the appropriate level, it's, I don't know. I figured it's okay, I understand I have to run around and dodge and, not be an idiot while playing. But also, we switched to easy at some point because when you get the game, it's easy, normal, and then you can unlock hard mode. And we started on normal, but there were certain points where I was just I'm going to put it on easy because we were dying to a boss too many times. And I was just I don't feel like trying to beat my head against the wall. I'm just trying to play a video game with my wife. And she doesn't play that many video games, so she's not as nearly as adept or skilled at them, which is fine. I'm not playing with her because I need her to be the best gamer. I'm playing with her because I want to do something, like I want to have a fun mutual activity where we do stuff together. So I lowered the difficulty because you can do it at any point in time, it seems like. And it got easier, but there were still sections where a boss would just almost damn near one-shot you, even if you were leveled up. And it's weird difficulty spikes and a buggy camera basically hold that game back for me. And also some frustrating things. There's a sequence where Ultron is invading Avengers Tower, and you have to beat up certain drones, and then you have to use they don't die, they just get stunned, and then you got to use a computer to kill them. And then there's this maze. There's maze sequences throughout the game that are just annoying. They're not fun. They're annoying to me. So overall 7.5. It's not terrible. It's better than average, but I'm not gonna tell anyone that thinks they need to play a beat 'em up button mashy game that they need to go buy it. If you don't care for superheroes that much, it probably isn't worth your interest or money, especially at full price. Wait for a sale. Oh, if that happens on the Switch. Nintendo sometimes likes to keep things bumped up. But yeah, that's all for that. But yeah. Also, other than that, I have been playing Moonlighter as a couple of days ago, and because it is currently free on the Epic Game Store. If you don't like Epic Games, I understand, but if you download their client, you get a good, there's a bunch of games that they have been giving away for free, and they're not bad games. They're pretty not decent, but pretty damn good indie titles. No, I don't think there's ever been a AAA title on there. Unless I'm crazy. I don't know. But yeah, there's really no reason not to have the Epic Game Client unless you really, really, really just despise Epic. It's well, then don't buy anything and just take advantage of the fact that they're giving away games. Damn. And it's free till August 2nd at 10:59 Eastern D time. I don't know what the D stands for, if I'm going to be honest. But yeah, I've been playing it a lot. It's let's see. Moonlighter is an action RPG with roguelite elements following the everyday routines of Will, an adventurous shopkeeper that dreams of becoming a hero. But yeah, the whole thing of it is you go into dungeons during the day, you kill things, you get the loot, and then you come out of the dungeon at night, and you go into the dungeons at night, come out during the day, and you sell everything you get in the dungeon, so that way you can make more money and improve the town, improve your shop, and continue to make more money and go further and further into the dungeons. It's actually a really fun gameplay loop, and I like it a lot. Not currently, that doesn't make any sense. I streamed it yesterday, Sunday, July 28th. I'm probably going to stream it sometime today on the 29th, as I upload this today, because I forgot. Well, no, I didn't forget to upload a podcast. I, for a second there, didn't know what to actually record. So, yeah. But yeah, this will be up during, before I stream. So if you listen to this and you're like, oh, I want to catch a stream, see if this Moonlighter game's any good so I could download it, then come hang out. It'll be, a couple hours, probably around 1 p.m.-ish, Eastern Standard Time. But yeah, it's a indie game, and it's a what is the word I'm looking for? 2D sprite-based game. So if you're wondering whether or not your PC, laptop, whatever can handle it, it probably can. I can't say for certain that it will, but if I had to guess, I would say it might, because I don't know how it wouldn't. But yeah. So that's cool, and it's been really fun. I like it a lot. Okay, so you get a free game to play every week. I said there are no AAA titles. The next 2 games that are going to be free are Alan Wake and For Honor. Hopefully For Honor is able to play with the people on Steam and Uplay and all that stuff, or if the For Honor version that's gonna release on here just is one of those games where it's like if you buy Ubisoft games on Steam, it just has you open up Uplay, so you have to go through an extra step, which is annoying. But if it doesn't do that, then you're gonna get royally fucked, and you're not gonna have anybody to play with online. So hopefully it does that. But yeah, those are two AAA titles right there, Alan Wake and For Honor. I've heard really good things about Alan Wake. I never played it back when it came out, but I've always heard it's a good game. For Honor has been continuously updated. I think it has dedicated servers now, so it's not even like shitty rubber banding on peer-to-peer connections, which is good. And then This War of Mine is also the free game currently until August 2nd. Never played that. I've seen it, and I've heard of it before, but I've never been I just something about it. I was just never a huge I never wanted to really play it. Like nothing. It's not that it didn't grip me or anything. I didn't ever want to play it. That's all. But I've heard it's really good, especially for an indie game. So if you have, if you want to own both Moonlighter and This War of Mine, go right ahead. They both have DLC out. Moonlighter only has one right now. It's $6.99. So you can own the game and DLC for just $7. And then for This War of Mine, it has 4 DLCs out. They all range in price, actually. Oh wait, one of them's a season pass, which is cheaper than the 3 DLCs that I see that came out for it separately. So the first one's $1.99, the second one's $3.99, the third one's $4.99, and then the season pass is $6.99, which should be, it says stories season pass, so I'm guessing it's all of these stories because they're marked stories. Well, except for the last one. I don't know. But basically, you would be able to get the DLC for cheaper than the base game, and you'd have the whole game. So if you're thinking about, I wish I had something to play, trust me, even if you don't like the Epic Games Store, it's not a bad investment to get free games, especially when they're pretty high-quality fucking games. And lastly, for video game news-related stuff, Wolfenstein Youngblood came out to not great reviews, pretty bad ones actually, which is disappointing as a fan of the Wolfenstein series, especially the new rebooted Wolfenstein series. I have played the New Order, the Old Blood, and New Colossus. So that's the first game, the prequel, and the sequel. Not the sequel to the prequel, the actual sequel. So it's Wolfenstein 1, or the timeline would be Wolfenstein Old Blood, Wolfenstein New Order, and then Wolfenstein 2, the New Colossus. And I like all of those games. They're all really good. Old Blood has less story in it than either of the two main games, because I guess you could say the prequel's kind of like a spin-off kind of thing. It doesn't last as long. The campaign's nowhere near as long as the New Order or the New Colossus can be, and it's just lighter on story. And I think one of the good things, or one of the things that was surprising about the New Order when it was released, was the campaign, and it actually being really good single-player story for a first-person shooter, especially since it didn't have any multiplayer or anything. It was just a story-driven single-player FPS game. When it came out, all I heard about it was people being like, holy shit, this game's story is awesome. It's people were like, oh, Wolfenstein, it's gonna, shoot people, killing Nazis, it's gonna be fun. But they were like, oh, story probably non-existent. And then you get a story about characters that you really care about, that makes you care about, and it grips you, and you're like, why the fuck am I so interested in this story? And then the Old Blood came out a little bit after that, because I'm pretty sure Old Blood was being made at the same time as the New Order. It started development during the New Order. Excuse me, I'm very, very yawny this morning. They started development during it because they were like, oh, well, we want to do the Castle Wolfenstein stuff. So they started the Old Blood, and it has less story, but it's more gameplay centric. So it's a weird thing where some people like the Old Blood more because there's not a lot of cutscenes and story getting in the way. A lot of people like the New Order because it's of the story and all of the gameplay is still good. Like, it's not worse than Old Blood. It's just it has more story stuff in it. And then the new Colossus came out, and that was very divisive because of its separation. Oh my god, I'm yawning again. I'm so sorry. It's it had a lot of story beats. You have a hub that you go return to basically after every single mission. And then they also introduced going off on like side quest missions, but they're not really side quests. You just literally go and then you kill like an Uber commander, and then you come back to the U-boat. It was weird. It was a weird way to structure that game. It felt like they were experimenting with making it a little more open-ended and less linear, but it just didn't. That part I don't really like so much. I like going on the missions. I like doing all that stuff because I liked advancing the story, because I care about the characters that they introduced from the first game and continue in this game and the new Colossus. So I like that. What I didn't like was the weird, open structure of these other missions that weren't integral to the story at all, and you didn't need to do them. So it felt like they were there just to pad the game's runtime, and I don't like that. I don't like when stuff is added just so it's like, oh, look, this person played the game for 20 hours. I'm like, look, a $60 game for 8 hours isn't a great money to time ratio. It's not. It's not even like a $6 an hour thing. Because if you played a game for 10 hours and it was $60, then you spent like $6 an hour, which is better than going to see a movie in the theaters, because tickets are expensive as shit. And some nowadays movies are pretty good, especially if you're going to see like the superhero movies and stuff, because they're like 2.5 hours long. It's like, okay, well, you spent $20 on a ticket. That's like $10 an hour. That's not terrible. There are worse things that you could have spent your money on for like a time investment value, but $6 an hour is even better when it comes to that thing. Whatever. So a lot of developers are like, how much time can we have people play our game for? So they feel like they actually spent money and they weren't upset by the fact that they didn't get enough content. And it's like this whole thing, and it's not great because now it's led to a lot of developers adding in things that pad games, and it's not fun. Like Rage 2 came out and it's like, oh, it's Rage, but it's also an open world game and there's quests and blah blah. And it's like, Rage 1 was kind of open world to begin with, and it was a little much, and then you guys expanded it and it didn't do a lot. Apparently Rage 2 is fun when you're doing the combat and you're fighting like whoever the fuck you're fighting in that game, because the gunplay is really good because it did the shooting and everything and the weapons, and then but like after that it's kind of like, all right, it's kind of empty, not a lot going on here, which is shitty because I mean, like, I don't want to play an empty open world game like this is fucking Dragon Age Inquisition or Mass Effect Andromeda, where it's like, oh, look at this big expansive area you can run around in. It's like, cool, nothing's fucking happening for the most part. And I like Inquisition. Andromeda's kind of it's like a 5 out of 10 for me. It's like, it's not, especially after they fixed a bunch of stuff, I'm still like, this is pretty boring because there's so many side quests that don't do fuck all for anything. And then Inquisition actually, like, I don't know, I liked the combat and stuff in that game a lot more than I liked Andromeda's, basically. Well, not combat-wise, but the world and areas you inhabited and did quests in. But anyway, side tangents. It just felt empty. And apparently Rage 2 feels really empty, especially because you can run out of things to do, which is terrible. Let's see. But yeah. Weird thing from the Wolfenstein to the new Colossus. I guess that, like I said, that it was them experimenting with trying to like pad the game out. Because even when you get to the end of the game and credits roll, you load back in and it's like, all right, you can go after those Uber commanders now, blah, 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 blah. And you can keep playing. And I did for like 2 missions like that you get, but there's like part of the fun of going on the missions is BJ like going on a mission, and then you get some of that some of that like self realization and like that what's the word I'm looking for? Not memory, not flashback, because that would, but like BJ remembering things about himself and like go like just thinking about stuff in like how he like in what is it, Old Blood, you have to swim through not a sewer but like an underwater cavern thing, and he was like, he would talk about how he used to go down the lake back in Texas and swim as a kid, and how his dad got mad at him for all this sort like and for all these things. And then like in another thing in Old Blood, I replayed Old Blood recently, which is why I remember more of it, is BJ talking about how there were monsters in the basement when he was a kid, and that like if his father said as long as he was good, the monsters wouldn't come out, and he tried to be a good boy growing up, but the monsters always came out because the monster was his fucking father. His father abused the shit out of him as a child, as we found out in the new Colossus. But yeah, so like that kind of stuff is cool, but when you go on those other missions that you get through the Enigma codes throughout the main game, BJ doesn't say anything. You get some stuff from damn it, what's her name? Oh, fuck. I can't remember the name of the character that kind of like sends you on those missions. I'm a bad person. I don't remember at all. Damn it. Like you get some dialogue from her, but it's basically like, hey, this Uber commander's been hiding here. Kill them. And then that's it. Like there's nothing going on there. So it's like, yeah, the gameplay is still good, but it's missing part of what made Wolfenstein like the new like these new Wolfensteins like Wolfenstein to me is like BJ's like self-reflection, the story beats, like hearing Nazis talk about dumb shit next to each other when they're like waiting to go on patrols, which was always funny. The grammar Nazi in Old Blood is hilarious. The 2 Nazis talking about like, how could people hate us for our beliefs? Hey, you gonna go try out for that New Orleans Death Squad? Like that was fucking funny because it's like, it just points out really funny things and absurdist things in the world that they inhabit, and it kind of sheds light on some stuff in the real world too. But so those parts are not there in those extra missions, and it loses part of its luster. So I wasn't a huge fan of that. Didn't continue doing all of them because, like I said, there was a part that felt missing. Apparently, Youngblood, now that we can finally get to that, is a fucking RPG light now, whereas before in Wolfenstein 1, Old Blood, New Colossus, all that stuff, they had like upgrade paths, but it was stuff like kill 100 enemies while dual wielding, which is like, okay, I could just do that. And that would give you more ammo to carry. Get a bunch of headshots, you'll get this. Kill a bunch of enemies while overcharged in health, you get more health. Or your health degrades slower while you're overcharged. And stuff like that. You know, like challenges to like test your skill and make it to where the game didn't really get easier, but you unlock things. Youngblood is straight up just like, as you kill enemies, you gain XP. That's it. Nazis have health bars and stuff. Like it's an RPG light first person shooter, which I've watched some gameplay. It's like the gunplay and everything looks exactly the same as it's been, especially as the new Colossus. But what the fuck? Who thought, hey, we're going to make a co-op Wolfenstein game? Literally everyone went, sweet. Also, we're going to add RPG shit. Huh? Because if you watch any of the trailers for Youngblood, they have the HUD turned off and everybody just dies instantly. So it looks like they're playing a regular ass Wolfenstein game. It just happened to be co-op. Apparently, that's not the case because the fucking, RPG shit. Like, you literally level up, and there are certain enemies that are complete bullet sponges. And it's not like the Wolfenstein games didn't have bullet spongy enemies. They just looked like they could take a lot of punishment because they were these, like, uber heavy soldiers that had, like, these power armor suits on and shit. And, like, because, you know, the Nazis, it's an alternate history. They have, like, all kinds of weird tech. But, like, this is straight up just, like, you could come across a basic axe Nazi who doesn't have a really good helmet on and shoot him multiple times in the head. Whereas in Wolfenstein 1, 2, and prequel, if you found a basic ass Nazi, like, that you shot in the head in the beginning of the games, it would be 1 to 2 shots depending on whether or not you hit their helmet or you shot them in the face. And that was it. So the fact that they somehow, some way, someone somewhere thought this was a good idea, but apparently it's not, because people don't like it that much. Also, apparently BJ's daughters, who you play as in the game, are kind of annoying and just kind of go, fuck yeah, a lot, which is whatever. I haven't played the game. Any complaints about the characterizations of his daughters, I can't, like, speak to, because, as I said, I haven't played it. I can literally, from what I've watched, it didn't bother me that much. I don't have a problem with the whole, like, gung-ho, fuck you, fuck Nazis, fuck yeah kind of thing that they had in the trailers. I know some people were like, oh, that might probably get annoying at some point, but I didn't have that reaction, so can't speak to that at all. But the RPG stuff just doesn't make any sense. There's, like, microtransactions in the game, because any Bethesda game that comes out has to have microtransactions at this point. Oh, so people are calling it a Bethesda game. Machine Games should still be the developer, if I'm not mistaken, of Youngblood. And Bethesda's just the producer, or the publisher. Yeah, Machine Games, Arcane Studios developed the game. Arcane did the levels. Machine Games is the one that did, like, the shooting and everything. I'm willing to bet Bethesda themselves has said, hey, put in weird RPG shit and microtransactions. Yeah, because even Rage 2 is id Software and Avalanche Studios, like, working together, and Bethesda published it, and Rage 2 has microtransactions and all kinds of garbage in it. So I don't know what the fuck Bethesda is doing, trying to, like, catch up to the microtransaction train. Like, no, wait, we gotta, we didn't do this for a long time. Fallout 4 we were trying to get stuff going. We're trying to keep up. They're, like, trying to get close to EA, be like, hey, we're doing it. We got microtransactions, guys. We're trying to, we're getting on. And EA's over there like, nah, dude, we literally took out all of our loot box shit in Star Wars Battlefront 2 because people got so upset at us. And Bethesda's like, nah, come on. We gotta keep going. You gotta keep running with the microtransactions, dude. Just keep running. It's fucking absurd. Bethesda is somehow, like, pissing away any goodwill they had at any point in time. It's just microtransactions out the fucking asshole for single player games recently for them. And it's ridiculous. Why the fuck would I ever buy a microtransaction in a game like Fallout 4? Why the fuckity fuck would I ever buy an armor decal for power armor in that game? Why would I need to do that? Why would my T-51B power armor need a fucking decal on it that I can't mod in? What? You put out the creation kit. Like, they make those games moddable as hell and really easy to mod. And then they're like, hey, we're going to charge money for shit that people like to do in their spare time that they put out for free and we don't. Fucking, what are you smoking, dude? Like, it makes no sense. And then fucking, yeah, and now Rage 2 and Youngblood are both suffering for it. Which sucks, because both those games looked like they were going to be fucking awesome when they were shown at E3, at all of the E3s they were shown at. And now that they've been released, they have mixed reviews on Steam, but they're both, like, Youngblood is sitting at, like, 49%, and Rage 2 is at 68%, which is up from its, like, 55% when it came out, because Rage 2 is continually getting updated to add more activities, so there's actually things to do in the game. Who would have guessed? Where you get to shoot stuff because that's the best part of the game. But Youngblood, I don't even know what they're going to do, because the main problem with it is that people went in expecting one thing and then they got something completely different, or at least something they didn't expect or didn't want out of the game, which was a like almost Borderlands experience when it comes to shooting things. It's like Borderlands comes out in like a month and a half, if that. Like, people are just going to go play that shit. And there's no, like, as far as I could tell, there's no looting of guns. It's just you level up, you get coins, like, you find not money, because, you know, Nazis have money. Like, that's finding things in the environment's not new, especially, like, but currency is new. And then you use the, like, XP stuff and the coins that you find and shit in the environment, in, like, boxes and whatever the fuck, to upgrade weapons, which is kind of a better system than what the new Colossus did, where it's like you had to find weapon upgrade kits, and if you didn't go certain ways and certain levels, you didn't find an upgrade kit, so then you just kind of stuck. They gave you a couple, but there were a bunch that were hidden in that game, which is not fun when you're trying to fight Nazis who keep continuously getting upgraded gear and you don't have upgraded weapons. Thankfully, I did find a bunch of them. I upgraded a bunch of the weapons, like, all the way. At least the pistol, the assault rifle, the SMG, and the shotgun for sure. I don't know how many other weapons there are, but I know there's the little, like, hand grenade thing. I didn't upgrade that, I don't think. Other than that, I don't remember. But anyway, so I think that system of just upgrading weapons when you, like, have currencies and stuff is better than trying to find random upgrades in the world, especially sometimes because they didn't make sense to where they were, but whatever. And the new Colossus level designs weren't super intuitive. They're, like, bigger, but also, like, not maze-like, but there were a couple times where I was just like, where the fuck do I go? Like, I got turned around, and the map wasn't great, so it's, Like, I like the new Colossus a lot, but there are nitpicks and stuff I have of that game. But to hear that Youngblood has gone, like, in such a hard right turn for the series is just very apparent that Bethesda is meddling in the development of these games and just kind of fucking with them for no real reason, which sucks a lot. It's just, there was no precedent for what Youngblood is doing in any of the Wolfenstein games prior, so why would they go, oh, we need to try that? As developers, why would they think we need to add RPG elements to the game and have health bars and damage? I don't think there's damage numbers, but I mean, if there's health bars, there's damage numbers, even if you don't see them. So, like, what the fuck? It smells and reeks of Bethesda greed, if I'm going to be honest. Let's see. Is Doom published by Bethesda? Because I'm about to get real... my hope for Doom Eternal is going to... Oh, God, it is. Oh, man. Doom 2016 was really good, and now that... Oh, man. I don't know. I'm really worried about Doom Eternal now, because... What the fuck? Like, id's making it, but Bethesda's publishing it, and I don't trust Bethesda fucking at all anymore at this point. So I'm real wary of what is about to come out in November. Oh boy, that's shitty. I was really looking forward to that game, and now I'm really, really unsure about whether or not that's gonna be a weird fucking RPG light game now, instead of it being, you know, fucking Doom. I know they previewed some of it at QuakeCon. I'm going to want, like, but they can change what they show in public releases, so who knows? I'm going to watch stuff. If it's just straight up Doom and they didn't change anything other than adding stuff, like if id was able to just make Doom and Bethesda didn't get their fucking shitty little greedy hands in it, that would be great. I don't see that happening because publishers always have a say in what developers do to their games, which is unfortunate. But fuck, man. Nah, I just made myself sad because I was really looking forward to Doom Eternal. Oh, man. Oh, well. But yeah, that sucks because I was looking forward to Youngblood because I like the Wolfenstein series. I like the story and I like where they're heading with all that stuff. But yeah, I'm upsetty spaghetti about all that shit. Other than that, there isn't much else to talk about. There's nothing else new that I've played, nothing else old that I've played. I really haven't played much other than Moonlighter and Marvel's Ultimate Alliance. Recently, I might play the Division 2 again. I didn't quit for any other reason than I couldn't get any of the shit I wanted to drop, so I stopped playing. I don't know if that's changed that dramatically. I just know there's like new story content and new like main missions and stuff. So that'll be fun to play through no matter what. But yeah, so I might do that. You might hear about it next time. Who knows? But that's about it. This is a shorter podcast because, like I said, I'm by myself. There's no one to bounce stuff off of, which sucks. But, you know, it is what it is. You make do with what you got as a podcaster. If you guys are somehow here but didn't listen to the rest of the podcast and you're like, I don't want to listen to just Nicco, I don't know, fucking man, I'm sorry. Like, I get it. Like, you subscribe to a podcast to listen to both of the hosts talk about whatever they want to talk about, bounce back and forth, and then one of the hosts doesn't show up for the past the past 5 episodes. Has he not been on 3 of them or something? I don't remember. He hasn't been on 2 because of this one and the last one, so I know that much. So that sucks, and I'm sorry, but, you know, he's a busy guy, and so there's not a lot I can do about it. If he can't make time to do the podcast, then he can't make time. But yeah, nevertheless, I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. You enjoyed the talks about these games and how I am upsetty spaghetti that Bethesda is a piece of shit company nowadays. God, they're really terrible. But yeah, hope you guys enjoyed it. There's a little ranty stuff, a little ranting and raving going on. But yeah, if you did, you know, leave good reviews on iTunes. That always helps the podcast get more discoverability. And tell your friends and all that stuff. I'm Nicco, otherwise known as Nicco All Powerful. You can find me on YouTube at Nicco All Powerful, Twitch, Nicco All Powerful. 2 C's, Nicco on both of those. Oh, no. YouTube is 1. Or is it 2? Fuck. Try both on YouTube. And on Twitter, Nicco Powerful, Nicco, Powerful. Because I couldn't fit all in the middle of that when I switched to Nicco with 2 C's. You know, the correct spelling of my name. But yeah, I'll see you guys on the next podcast. I hope you have a great, wonderful Monday evening if you listen to this the day it was put up. And if you listen to it at any other point in time, I hope you have a great rest of your day, morning, or evening. God bless, and stay clean, stay polished.